Hello there. Yes, Akaze here once again. I trust you're doing great. Yeah, today I want to speak about marriage and relationships, which I'm so passionate about. It's something I love to speak about right from when I was much younger. I want to speak about marriage today and relationships. And I have a question to ask. The question is, does God really care about whom you get married to? Does God really care about whom you get married to? You know, if you are married or if you are not yet married, maybe you're seeking to still get married. Perhaps you may know that there are two schools of thought about this matter. The first school of thought believes that God is important for one to seek God's face before you make a choice of a marital partner. And they believe that, God is important in every decision making and more importantly, marriage. But there's also another school of thought who believes that, look, God is up there. He's up there somewhere in heaven. And we are here, human beings. We see ourselves, we don't see God. So why should we bother about asking, about trying to seek for God's direction in marriage? So there are these two different school of thoughts. I don't know which school of thought you belong to, but today I want to give you a number of proofs to tell you that truly God is interested, or God really cares about whom you get married to. Yes, I'm going to give you some proofs, and I'm also going to mention 2 or 3 reasons why we need to seek God's face or seek God's direction when we want to choose a marital partner. So, are you game? Are you ready? Let's get right into it. So, now, does God really have a say, or is God really concerned about our marital affairs? I want to say categorically that truly, God is concerned about whom we get married to. He's seriously concerned about who we get married to. He's very interested in our marital affairs, and I will give you the proofs. Number 1 proof is that God is the creator, the author, the creator, and the sustainer of marriage. And why do I say so? We see that in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18 to 25. That was in the Garden of Eden. After God had created Adam, he put Adam in the Garden of Eden to take care of it. And then God found out that all the animals had male and female. The lion had male and female, tiger, the elephant had male and female. But only Adam, whom God created in his own image, was there alone. He said, it is not good for man to be alone. He said, I will make him a helpmeet that is meet for him. And so that was how God decided to create Eve. And that was the first marriage, the first ever marriage that ever occurred in the whole history of time. That was the first marriage. So God is the creator and sustainer and author of marriage. So if God created something, if anybody invents something, or someone sets up a business, for example, I don't think that person will just set up a business, hire staff, pump money into the business, and then abandon the business and go elsewhere, and say, I care less about what happens to the business. No, of course, he will not do so. He will be there to ensure that the business making profit? Is it making losses? How will he build up the business? He's going to put all his effort into it. So the same with God. God created marriage. He's the creator of it. So he's so much interested He's so much interested in whom He's so much interested in whom you get married to. He's not interested in you succeeding in marriage. Yeah. So number 2, God led Abraham's servant to a far place to find a wife for his master Isaac. Of course, Abraham sent his servant Eliezer to a far place. He said, go and look for a wife for my son. And when you read that story in Genesis 24, verse 2 to 4 and 12 to 13, when you read that story, you find out that it was a divinely orchestrated. God orchestrated that meeting with Rebecca. So that is a proof to us that God is interested in whom we get married to. God was interested in who Isaac got married to, and he directed Abraham's servant there. And then we can see that how happened. What happened? Abraham's servant was able to find Rebecca. And of course, the rest is history. The third proof which I want to give is that God is our creator, and he always wants his will to be done in our lives. Look at that in Proverbs 19, verse 21. He wants his will to be done in our lives because he created us. He created us. He said, let us make man in our own image and likeness. So he created us. He created us, and he wants He wants us to fulfill his plans and purposes for our lives. And that takes me to the last one, which is God has good plans for you and me. He has good plans for our future, marriage inclusive. When you read Jeremiah 29 verse 11, God says, for I know the thoughts I have towards you, thoughts of good, not of evil, to bring you what? To an expected end. So God's thoughts towards us are of good. They are good. And God knows that if we make a mistake in marriage, men, his good thoughts towards us will not come to pass. That's the truth. If you know those who have made mistakes in their marriages, who marry the wrong person, either a man or woman, go and find out. Their lives are how would I put it? Their lives are like a train wreck. You may not see it outwardly, but when you go in, when you relate with them and discuss with them, you find out that look, they are not having it funny. But that's not God's way. God wants good. God wants it to be good for us. He wants our future to be blessed, to be sound, to be peaceful. So that's the one reason why God wants you and I to do what? God wants you and I to do what? To seek his face concerning what? Marriage. So now let me go to the reasons. What are the reasons? Why should you and I seek God's will and direction before choosing our spouses? Why should we seek God's will? Number one, just like I've just said, God wants the best for you in marriage. That's his will. That's his will. He wants the best for you in marriage. Since he said in Jeremiah 29:11 that what his thoughts towards you and me is of good, not of evil, to bring us to an expected end. Some other versions say to give us a future and a hope. Of course, his will and his desire is that you would make the right choices in marriage, because he knows that if you don't do so, then you're going to have issues. You're going to have issues. That's number one. Number two is that God knows the best person you and I will marry among the many choices. Jeremiah 17 verse 9 to 10, he says what? He says, the heart of man is deceitful and desperately wicked. He said, who can know it? He ended that verse by saying, who can know it? Is a question. Who can know the heart of man? Is it me, you? No, of course not. Of course not. Only God. So if God is the one that knows the heart of men, he knows the lady who is sincere, he knows the lady who is not sincere, he knows the guy who is masquerading as something whom he's not, as somebody whom he's not, and he knows the guy who is genuine. Of course, God is the person that we should ask, and we should seek his face and say, God, you are the one that knows the heart of man. This person, I seem to like her, I seem to like him. Should I go ahead or should I not go ahead? And God will direct you. He's always ready to speak to his children, to direct them in the right path. So we see that what God knows the best person for us. God knows the best person for us. So only through God's help can we find the right spouse to marry. Only through God's help. Now also, the last one I want to mention is that of course, naturally, we as human beings, we have our own will. So we desire, we have our standards, that we love in a spouse. I want her to be tall. I want her to be plump. I want her to have figure eight. As a guy, we have so many of those things. But sometimes the truth of the matter is that our desires and will might not be in tandem with God's will. God knows the best, just like I said before. God knows the best for us. He knows the lady. He knows that lady that will be the best for us. So I may have my own will. You may have your own will. But if we seek God's face, then he will be able to direct us to the best, irrespective of what we desire. You understand? Irrespective of what we desire, he's going to direct us to the best. He's going to give us his own perfect will. So that's why we need God to guide us. So if you are someone that really desires to have the perfect will or to know the perfect will of God, then I want to encourage you. It is important that you will seek God's face. So as I round up, I want to just like to reiterate the fact that the truth of the matter is that God is interested in whom you marry. God cares about whom you get married. So with that at the back of your mind, it is important that you begin to seek God's face and begin to ask him to direct you. In a subsequent video after this, I'm going to speak about the different ways by which we can hear from God. The different ways by which we can hear from God in the area of marital and in the area of making marital choices. I'm going to do that video. That should be my next video after this in this series. So I want to encourage you that God wants you. He wants the best for you. All you need to do is seek him and let him guide you. So if you enjoyed this video or you learned one or two things in this video, please, I would also want you to do me a favor by subscribing to my channel if you're on YouTube. Follow my page if you're on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok, the other platforms, and just keep on watching out for my next videos. We are just starting. There's so much more to come. So till my next video, stay blessed and shalom.